So welcome to our Glimpsing Guruvar series. Today we are going to have a glimpse into the world of web scraping. So before we start with, let's do a small poll. So just provide me with your answers, okay? You will just see this poll on your screens. Just let me know your answers. So Michael was already here, so he has already seen this before. Okay, that's great. So when you say that you already know about web scraping, so you already know how is it done, since all of you have said that you already know about web scraping. Good, we have some good numbers back now. Great. So when you say that you already know about web scraping, do you know what web scraping is, as in, uh, as in a term, or do you know also how to do web scraping? So you can tell me that as an answer to the question. So web scraping as a term or as a technique? How familiar are you with it? Okay. Okay. So people who are saying that you're familiar it as a technique, which I would understand that means you have basically done web scraping in your personal or professional life, as in implemented it with your own hands. Okay. And those who are saying that you understand it as a technique, or you are guessing it is a technique, it is both a technique and a term. By the question, when I asked you whether you think it is a term, or whether you know it as a term or a technique, I just wanted to understand whether you are aware of it as a technique or not, as in, do you have practical experience web scraping? Okay. So another question I have for you all is, I'm asking these questions just to, sense the mood of the room. That's all. That's my intention. So my next question is, do you know Python? Okay. 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 So we are all are familiar with Python as a language. That is very nice. Very good. Okay. So let us start our discussion. So the idea is I'm going to discuss about this concept. Okay. It's a topic which we are going to talk about, and if during the session you have any queries, we would be taking some logical breaks. During that time you may ask me some questions. Okay, it is going to be an hour, and around somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes I'm going to hopefully cover what I want to talk about, and then we can discuss. Okay, so what about data? So a big cloud asks a small cloud, what do you want to be when you grow up? Cumulonimbus. So you have, cumulus cloud and a nimbus cloud. both pretty huge, and the big cloud combined it. The small cloud said no data storage. Okay, so that's just a joke. I took it off internet. So these are the terms. Some of you who come from testing background, they might have used it, or people from very data centric backgrounds. In God we trust, all others must bring data. This was first coined by W. Edwards Deming, and this person was an engineer and a professor who was known to develop sampling techniques which are still used very much by the USA government, and his methods are known to be behind the success of Japan as a country. Okay, so he's the one who basically coined this, you know, line which most of us now use, and he was the one stressing on the point that data helps one make better decisions, and it should be the data which should be relevant to us, and through data we should drive our decisions. Do we all agree with this, that it should be data through which we should drive all our decisions? So we generally have this, one person in the team, and most probably the one senior in the hierarchy, who has this concept of it's my gut feeling that we should go with this approach, or my gut or my instinct says that we should go with this. We either have that kind of mindset in an organization, or we have a data driven decision making going on in an organization. So, do you really think that gut driven decisions or instinct driven decisions should be favored over data driven decisions, like in nowadays world? So gut driven decision versus data driven decision, this is something you can ponder over and think about later, where and how, or which methodology would you prefer while making decisions, short term, long term, and why would you go with which one of them? So, what is this method of data scraping? Data scraping is a technique in which computer program extracts data from the human readable output which is coming from another program. Okay. So manual scraping, which we are all, if we are in IT, we are pretty familiar with, where we are cut, copying and pasting. And why we are familiar with it, people who are coding, most of us are basically reusing code which has been already written. Okay, or text pattern matching, which is basically using regular expressions, and sometimes they become very complex and they break down when our structure of the data changes and it is not as per expectation of our regular expressions. But these two techniques are also data scraping techniques. Then come the world of web scraping. Web scraping is about downloading structured data from the web, selecting some of that data, not all of that data. That's not the point, and that's not why we are doing web scraping in the first place. We are going to download the structured data from the web, and we are going to select the relevant data points for us, and we are going to pass it along to another process. In here, most of the time, the another process in here is a data source where we basically store our data, which is then further given for further manipulations or processing. And that data source is basically a data storage unit, which could be your SQL database or a CSV file or something else, which is used for further data manipulations to make decisions. A general workflow in web scraping is the scrapers are created as per need to collect data from the websites. The data is fetched from the HTML pages and it is stored into structured data formats. And on this, the data manipulations are done to gather information from. Is this clear? What is web scraping going to do? What is generally the process which people use? If you have questions, you can ask me now. Okay. Since most of you answered that you are already familiar with web scraping, I am sure that you must be also familiar with where web scrapers are used. Can you give me some practical examples where web scrapers are used? In any domain, e-commerce sites, okay? You were about to ask where they are used, okay? So e-commerce sites or e-commerce organization generally use web scrapers so that they can scrape the price of the products from their competing websites and keep themselves updated. That's one way to check your competition where web scrapers are used. Anything else where web scrapers are used? Travel sites, okay, fine. Okay, that's kind of something similar they are going to do, right? What else? Where else? Do you think people in so shopping is one place, doing price comparison it's one place. Do you think people in science they can benefit from web scraping? Or data scraping per se? Can they? Researchers, economists, scientists, doctors, can they get benefited from data scraping? So in data scraping, okay, so you can go and explore, is data scraping being used to help, in this field? And you will find that there is a lot of work which is already being done to help these researchers and scientists in this field. Also, there is another thing which is very interesting in data scraping or web scraping, which is called sentiment analysis, which again, marketing organizations, political organizations, business organization uses to find out the mood of the customers, okay? So as to create their campaigns around them, okay? So that's another interesting thing, because processed data is information, and that is what we can use to, that is the power which we can gain by processing data. And from where we are going to get this data? We are going to get this data from lot of uh, informations which is available right now to us, and there is tons of such information available right now, but there is all, they're all just spread out. We have to collect them, but in a structured manner. Also, if some of you are interested in the root of AI or machine learning, you will understand that providing good data or providing structured data or providing correct data to your uh, algorithms of your AI is very much necessary if you want your algorithms to learn the correct routes, right? If your data set is bad, your complete structure could fail. So, processed structured data or a good data set is very much crucial for your AI structure to be provided so that it learns a correct that machine learning algorithm works in a correct manner. Do you understand this? Again, that much huge amount of data has to be made available to those particular software pieces or those particular machine learning pieces, and from where that data would come. Again, this question can be answered by web scraping or data scraping, depending if you are working with real-time data sets. Now, why is Python as a language pretty much famous for web scraping? Python is considered as one of the best languages for data manipulation. The reason being that why Python is considered to be one of the best languages for data manipulation, Python has got no thrills and frills. Okay, it's a very simple language. To work on strings or to manipulate strings with Python, it is one of the easiest scripting languages to do so. If you write a string manipulation program in Python versus you are going to do the same in Java, you will make a trip to hell and come back, whereas in Python, you will just stay on earth where you are. Okay. Python has got a lot of inbuilt libraries for data handling and manipulation, even scrapings. And the kind of structures and the ease of using those structures which Python has available, and the type of libraries and modules which are available like NumPy, Panda, Scrapy, Beautiful Soup is amazing in Python. Their usage is amazing, and that's not true for Java. Any one of you has used any of these libraries in Python for manipulating, storing, managing, scraping data or working with data? Why did you use Beautiful Soup, Manohar? For what reason did you use Beautiful Soup? You were scraping data from a website, okay. So now I will show you demo of two programs. One is going to scrape information from a website. The another I just built because I was trying to get information of the objects from a website. So I started working on it, and then I just wanted to understand why nobody has an object spy for Selenium. The kind you had. So the days when I used QTP, we used to have an object spy. I don't know about UFT now. So I was wondering why not a proper object spy for Selenium is available. So I just thought I just wanted to do some work, and I used again Beautiful Soup for it, and I'll just show you how web scraping is very useful for that. So what all modules I took, and I will just do a very basic um read through of some of the structure which will come handy in the type of information we are trying to make sense of. Okay, if you do not understand anything, you let me know right now. So right now it's a session where you can just ask me questions as and now you want to, so there is nothing you have to hold back. So what I need in my system is Python, and for installing Python packages, you go to this Python package indexer. There I downloaded this package Beautiful Soup for. Okay, this is a package which people use for scraping data. This is generally for beginners. Okay, so most of the people who have went into a little bit advanced stage, they use Scrapy. They don't use Beautiful Soup for. Then I have to use this particular module LXML for reading the document object model, okay, as an XML document. Now the program which I created, I just call it teaser, and I'm going to simply scrape a web page to fetch all the web element information. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Now what do you think when Selenium IDE is working and recording your, as you are working and you are trying to record the steps for a Selenium, trying to record the steps of the test, you are recording with Selenium IDE, all these objects information is captured, right? What do you think? Is Selenium IDE scraping that website for the object information and then presenting that object information into different formats of the locators which Selenium will understand? Have you ever thought it from the data scraper perspective or web scraping perspective? Or can you say that this is web scraping? And here I have assumed that most of you here know Selenium. I could be wrong, but some of you I already know, and I know you guys are Selenium experts. So is my assumption correct or is my assumption wrong? Okay. So Vaibhav, my very old friend and a very highly geeky tester, he says correct. Okay, thanks Vaibhav. Okay, you do not work on Selenium, but you're aware of the concepts. Okay, fine. Okay, Srini. What do you say, Manohar? I know you work on Selenium. You know Selenium, okay. So what do you say? Now we have, we kind of discussed about web scraping, that we are fetching information and then presenting in such a manner that it becomes useful for us. So when Selenium IDE is recording the test cases, when Selenium IDE is recording and capturing your steps on a website as you are trying to record, and then it is capturing all this object information on the page, and when you see that object information being presented to you on the Selenium IDE, you find all these different locators for an object just as Selenium would like it. Is that an example of web scraping? If you don't know the answer right now, you can think about it and let me know. Yes, IDE does the web scraping for us, but is IDE doing a web scraping for us? Can I say that IDE is doing a web scraping? Have you ever given a thought about it, that it is actually web scraping? Think about it, okay? Now, keeping that in mind, there are different ways we can fetch the same information from an HTML page by writing or by extracting the document object model of that particular web page. We can do it with the help of requests and responses. We can do it by help of taking that HTML DOM and by reading it, or we can actually take help of scrapers. So I just took a help of scrapers because they are pretty fast to do. Okay, this is one of the fastest way to fetch information which I need, which is effectively I need all the possible HTML property values associated with a web element. That's my objective, isn't it? My objective is I want property and value of all HTML elements given in a web page. That's my objective right now. I do not want to add again any thrills and frills. I don't want to convert that information into any other format or mode right now. I just want to simply fetch that information and display it for me. That's all I wanted to do. Okay. And though there are many different ways to get that information, I found scraping the best way to do it and the fastest. So, how do you get this working? This particular function I will show you and talk about it later. Look from here. So you provide the user with the URL of your application, and in the tag part, you either provide the tag as in the HTML tag you would like to use, or you say that you want to use all tags. Then you fetch your page, and then you use your beautiful soup module, and you fetch your page content in form of an XML document. Okay, this LXML is fetching your page content in form of a DOM or DOM XML document. What you do then now is you iterate, and how this iteration is happening, how this is traversing the HTML DOM, I will show you with the help of a diagram. Then for each child in this soup, I'm simply finding all tags and I'm just iterating through that. Okay, I'm just searching them one by one, iterating through them, and for each particular element I'm also calling an absolute XPath function, not a relative XPath, not relative to ID or look or anything else, position, anything else. I'm simply printing the absolute XPath by using a function called as XPath soup, which effectively traverses till the root parent is received and prints the complete path. So it is a recursive function which is going to keep on going till the root parent is received and then print the complete path. That's all. Now to simplify this or to take a simple example, I just picked up the Internet Horico application. Okay, it just had two objects. This URL I picked. Okay. When I say true, what it did was it went into this particular application URL and it traversed and it printed each HTML tag and the property value associated with them. Okay, each HTML tag and whatever property value was available for the document, it printed that. Okay, that's what it did. So, as a very basic thing, what we generally do is we want to find out what this username is. We will inspect and say, okay, input type text name, username, ID, username. So let's just go till there. We got our form. These were the methods. Okay. Then we should have our this one as well. So I just fetched them and displayed. That's all I did. Okay. So I used a web scraper to fetch the object information associated with the web page. Now, Selenium IDE doesn't work that way. If somebody has seen the backend code of Selenium IDE, it is not actually doing web scraping. Okay, though you can say that what Selenium IDE is doing could be called a web scraping work, but the code of Selenium IDE is not what a web scraper works like. But this is a web scraping work. Do you understand? Do you guys understand this? How is it different from Selenium script? Well, first of all, Selenium ID script is written in Java script. Okay. And then what I found out of the code which I could make sense in the way Selenium IDE script was written, they were not doing web scraping. Though if they took the IDE project as a web scraping project, I think they could have made a better, version of it. Or if somebody who is interested in, building something of an object spy, they should really try the web scraping version. That's my understanding of it. Although I'm not sure as to what all type of web application this would work, but generally web scrapers work for almost every type of web application. So let's see. Selenium script or Selenium IDE, not all fetching information from a website could be called web scraping. So having said that, okay, now in here if you see this particular path where I am reading my document as an XML document. If you guys are familiar with this structure, the document object model is an HTML structure which effectively follows a parent-child combination. Okay, it effectively follows a parent-child combination, parent-child hierarchical model. So at the root you have the HTML, and this HTML has head and body as two children. Then the head has got further few child elements, and the body has a major complete, information or the rest of the elements. Now, this LXML code is basically handled by the elementary module of Python. And this is an example of an XML document which is mapped to this elementary, or how the elementary module of Python is going to read this XML as. Okay, so at the root what we have, company. So if this was an HTML document, at the root it would have been HTML. Then at the two nodes, do you see one department and the second department? Do you see this? So department and two department nodes. Then this department nodes has one employee and second employee, and this department node has an empty employee. So this department node has an empty employee, this branch is closed. This department has two employees. Now this employee has got a name node, a job and a salary followed by their values. This employee has a name, Jane, job, designer and a salary associated with it. Okay. So this is how the tree is created, or the LXML tree is created from this particular XML document. And this helps us traverse or create this logic. Okay. And this is how the methods are made available to us, using which we can traverse this tree and fetch any information we want depending upon where and why a data point is located and what information is associated with it, which could be useful for us. So when you are trying to understand such a part, what you could do is, if you are using an HTML structure, so, for example, what you can take it as an exercise in here, just pick this part, the form part. Okay, this form part, try to design this form part as this tree. So, in the root node, you will have form. Okay, then this form will have one div as its main child, then this will have this div and this div as its two children, right? So one form this div and button as its two children, right? And then the main div will have these two div as two children, followed by this first div will have label and input, and this div will have another div followed by label and input. Do you guys understand this, or do you want, if you want me to draw this to help you understand, I'll do that. Let me know what works. Do you all understand this? Will you be able to make this into this elementary to understand how the traversal would work for this module? Okay then. So try this exercise to create this diagram. This would help. Now, in the next example of scraping, which we would take, which you would normally see as examples of, is creating a web scraper, where we would be trying to pick RSS feed from a news website, which is going to change daily, okay, and then pass that XML, pick the data from the XML and store it in a CSV file. So let's first see the scraper URL, which we would be trying to read from. So the news site which I have taken is the Hindustan Times RSS feed. So this is today's headline. I think it is changing. Yeah, today's date is 28th May. Okay, so this is the RSS feed which I am using. So I am going to use this URL to scrape the message. So if you look at a particular item entry, you see title, then you have a description, then you have a link of the news, then you have an associated GUID, then you have a publication date. Okay, so this is an information which is associated with the news item. Okay, now the idea is that we fetch this RSS feed. We will get a XML structure like this. Okay, so this RSS feed which I have captured is of an old date which I would be deleting right now. Okay, this is from 2 days ago, and this CSV file which has been created has got data which is formatted and published into this way: GUID, title, publication date, description, link, and media. Now let's see. Let me just remove these two things from here. Okay, so we should no longer have them around. So what we have are few functions. We have a load RSS function. So this is the URL. We are going to fetch all the basically the RSS page, RSS feed page, which is the XML page which I have just shown you, and we are going to save that page. Okay, as talknewsfeed.xml into our document directory. Then we have a function called as parse XML, which is going to parse the tree. So we are going to find all the elements inside the node channel dot item. So for each child in item, we are going to store the information into child dot tag. So we create child dot tag entity inside this news array, and we fetch child dot text into it, and then we append them into the main hash. So this is a hash, and this is the key value pair which we are creating inside the hash. Now we are going to save to CSV file. So the fields which we have created are this. We simply open a CSV writer, and we convert the hash to a CSV file using this particular module. That's all is happening. So let's see if the news are fetched. So I've executed the program. New files are though created. So 28th May, my date has changed. Let's see the top news. Okay, this we read, right? My child has been crying, please let me go home. Migrant worker 15th May and this and this. So this is one way, or this is an example of scraping a news website to fetch the data information into a CSV file. And where do you think anybody would like to use this file as, and why CSV? Do you think non-technical people like reading XML files, which are generally our RSS feeds? Do people like reading XML RSS feeds? Is my question. But if you provide them information in the way of a CSV file, that's easy for people to read who can further use that CSV or Excel file and, try and represent them in a way or in a manner, or make it consumable in a manner which becomes easier for them to, construct their narrative about. For example, you can try, I'll be sharing these programs with you guys, okay? It's not that I'm not going to share, I'm going to share these programs with you. So for example, this is an RSS feed for COVID data, okay? I took this from here. So I just Googled it here with you guys. This is how this person told how to fetch COVID-19 news using Google News feed. Okay, so you can create your own COVID-19 Google News feed, and you can then provide. You can then just pick what information do you need from here, and prepare your own Excel file, and then think about how would you like to consume this information, or then do with this, then do something other than something else with this information and provide it to the world. So many people have built these COVID trackers and different things. From where are they getting their information from? From some APIs and from other feeders which are available out there. Or they show all these news is there, but they represent to us in a different manner. So whatever is that which makes you curious, you can pick any of these topics and think and use this library called as Beautiful Soup and understand LXML just to start with, and get introduced to this world of web scraping, which is pretty nice and interesting. So play around with a bit if you enjoy this particular, you know, session. So this one is for beautiful soup and LXML. So LXML is a very, very powerful Python library, and it's just amazing what all you can do with that elementary of XML of Python. Highly useful. Okay, so with this we have discussed almost all we could, and that's all I had for you guys. So if you guys have any questions for me, let me know. And there is a small poll I have given to you guys. So just let me know your feedback. So if anyone is left, I think one or two people are left to provide their feedback. Please do. Okay then, thank you so much for this. Presentation I will not be sharing, but recording I will be sharing. Some things I like to keep for myself. Sorry about that. Okay. So just let me know, like here itself, although I have seen your feedback on the poll as well. Do you enjoy these Glimpsing Guruvar sessions? Was it nice? Did you learn something? Yeah, it was new to me too. I'll just let you know, guys, that I do these Glimpsing Guruvar sessions because it's my way of learning something. So I pick up topics which I think I would which interests me. So if there is something which you would like to discuss, you can let me know that this could be another topic for glimpsing Guru or something which is good to talk about, any topic, any tool, any concept. And I would see that. Okay, scrapey. Okay. um what I like really, Manohar, is I like to touch something and then move on to something next in glimpsing Guruvar. Although scrapey, sure. These are generally not tutorials. I just like to glimpse into something and just go back to something else. Like in our last session, I don't know if you were there, but we have done about we went into the world of Docker, GitHub, uh, and yeah. Today we went a little bit into web scraping. So let me know what ideas do you guys have in mind. And if any one of you is interested to be a speaker with our expert part series, where I would like anybody who has any experience, sure, they are all available on YouTube, uh, freely available on YouTube. I'll share the link. And so if any one of you has any experience, even a month is good, and there is something you would like to talk about with community, this is a great platform to also overcome your inhibition speaking skills if you have any. So we have our expert part sessions. So last time we had Rajat talking about performance engineering. So, if any one of you is interested to talk about your field, your project experience, anything, any practice, agile practices, anything which interests you, you can let me know. So, this is how you guys can reach me. Just let me know. So, I will share with you guys the YouTube link where you can see the recordings of the past as well. So these are the Glipmsing Guruvar series. And then there are a lot of things on YouTube which is, they're all free. You can just go on YouTube and just find stuff there. Okay, then, thank you so much everyone for joining me on a Thursday evening for people in IST time zone and nearby countries. For others, thank you so much. Have a good day or a good evening as per your time zones. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Take care. Be safe. Stay safe. See you again in our next series. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot. You will get all the material and the recordings and the exercises uh, in a day, most probably in a day. So I'll mail you on the same email IDs you guys have registered with. Okay? Thanks a lot. Take care, people. Bye. Bye, everyone.